Hello friends, it's me Kish again. Today's topic is cheers to tears decisions of Mr. Modi, our great Prime Minister. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about uh, we have been, it's almost 6 years now since Modi has been the Prime Minister of India. He won the original election with great majority, but then he increased this majority to 300 plus now in the current term. And what we have been seeing is there are certain decisions that he takes which supposedly is described as game changers, as bold, as nobody else can think of this is amazing, everything and all this in the beginning when the decision is taken. But later on, as things become more calmer, as time passes, and as outcomes become obvious, then it becomes more and more clear that was this really such a great decision, and what did it really even lead to the results that were originally expected, and did all the hype that was initially associated with the great decision really pan out, or what kind of state has those decisions left us in since months later, or since the decision has been taken, right? The title of this episode is Cheers to Tears Decisions of Mr. Modi, right? And let's start with the very first one that we got, which is the Modi had promised during his campaign that he's going to fight black money and do something about it, try to get money from that is hidden in Swiss accounts and all over the world by all the fraudsters and folks who defrauded India and ran away with the money. Well, not really a lot has happened in terms of getting back much money in from outside. Neither has as much happened in extraditing people who have escaped from India. In fact, more and more people keep escaping every day. Like now, all the different Modis have gone. There's Lalit Modi, there is Nirav Modi, there is Malia, there is Choksi, and I guess the only guy who didn't escape is probably the Jet Airways guys. So he was probably about to get on a flight, but then they stopped him or something. So anyway, so the great decision that Modi took, which is a cheers to tears decision on black money, is demonetization. Yeah, we are not clear how he got about making this decision, but in hindsight, now it looks like suddenly, one day he felt like, okay, this is something I'm going to do, and he decided maybe in the afternoon or evening or whenever, and he said, okay, I'm going to do an 8 p.m. speech, and then he came on TV on 8 p.m. and made a great announcement that, okay, all the currency notes are going to be shut down, except everything above 100 rupees. From within the next 4 hours. And then there is a mad scramble all over India for people, but then the news media and all the bucks, everybody are going to describing this as an amazing bold decision. Oh, this is going to end black money, this is going to end terrorism, the rich are going to suffer, oh, the poor may have to take the hardship for a little while, but don't worry, all the black money will vanish overnight, there's not going to be any counterfeit anymore. Oh no, even when he brings in the $2,000 note, there's going to be chip in it which will track where the note is sitting. Even if they hide it 1,000 miles down the earth, they'll be able to find it, or even in space or in Switzerland, it can still be found. And all kinds of blah 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 was told to us, and every news channel, everywhere you turned, this was the propaganda that we heard. No serious discussion on the real merits and demerits of this was held, or even if it was held, they were just bulldozed by these comments from all over the place, how great an idea this is, and how revolutionary and how amazing. And after that, even there was an election in UP, and BJP supposedly won with a great majority. So that was also projected as this is this is evidence, and this is proof that people loved the decision that Modi has taken, though there was hardship for them initially, which may be true. I'm not the electorate of India, the IQ level of the majority of them is so low that they can be sold on any nonsense, especially nonsense of freebies, right? And that we can come to that. I have an episode on that. The only people in India who got more than 300 seats in an election are the ones who bought the votes by freebies, whether it is Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, or Narendra Modi. Right? It's the same deal. The ones who did not promise freebies and wanted to do some real development like Narsim Rao and Vajpayee lost elections in a single term. So whether it was about elections were won because of the people bought the demonetization, maybe, I don't know. I will accept that, yes, it might be true too that they bought it. But later on down the line, what was the outcome from the demonetization? 99% of all the currency notes have returned to the banks. People have suffered. So many people lost their wages, lost their savings. Millions and crores across India have gone through hardship for months without having cash. All their cash being kind of wiped out or not usable overnight, simply because of a whim fancy of Mr. Modi. Neither has a black money stopped, nor has terrorism ended, nor is there any stop in counterfeiting of notes, and none of the rich guy got caught or got seriously hit by this. I'm not saying nobody did, maybe a few did, but it is not really in the scale that this was marketed to us as. And neither has demonetization. Later on, they shifted the goalpost and they started talking about, this is about making India a digital, transaction country. I don't see that there is any serious. Yes, there might be some slight uptick in digital usage, but nothing serious. We have not made any great milestones or any strides compared to like a more of a Western developed country in terms of digital adoption. Right? And still majority of India needs cash, and that's what they do with. So this was one of the early cheers to tears decision. Why I describe them as that is, initially all these decisions are greeted by cheers. Only later on, as the propaganda dissipates and time passes, do we realize that this really has only left the country in tears. Not though they were all greeted by cheers. Similarly, then came GST, again heralded as the greatest reform on earth or since independence ever done in India. It would simplify everything. Everything would be so great and amazing, and all this propaganda was sold to us. And what really happened is like a totally hasty way of bringing this change. It's like suddenly, you want to flip a switch and go from an old version of software to a new version with all the people not ready. They don't know how to use the new version. They don't know what they need to do. All kinds of mad scramble going on. Nobody is clear on how this even works. Right? So all the things that we have gone through for years, and now we are at a situation where there is no GST collection even after the lockdown, which we will come to, another cheers to tears decision. And we are struggling with the new GST system, with states having no money and center having no money to pay the states even. Right? I won't say that it's exactly a fault of the GST itself, but it's just another cheers to tears decision has left us in a state where even the GST is coming into question, whether it was done the right way or if it is even yielding the right result just within a few years of its implementation. Right? And then came the third most, I guess, I don't know how to describe this, but this is like the most illogical, the most ill thought out, the most completely nonsensical decision, which is the total lockdown of India and economy for months together. That is the again midnight decision or 8 p.m. decision of a countrywide lockdown. Right? And again everybody heralded this. as the greatest thing. Oh, Modi is fighting COVID like no country can. There's not going to be a single COVID case in India. Oh, look at Europe. Oh, look at America. Oh, look at everywhere else in the world, how they're struggling. And look at India. There's hardly any case here. We hardly got to 10,000. We hardly got to 1 lakh. We are there's nothing compared to the rest of them. And all these blah, blah, blah was told to us while millions, crores and crores have lost their job. These migrant workers don't have food to eat, cannot go back. There's no job for them. They're struggling to go back in the millions to their hometowns, and there is no arrangement. There are all kinds of vehicles. Everybody has a car, a bike, everything sitting at home idle. There are trains, there are planes, there are ships, boats, everything, but not one is available to these migrant workers when they need it the most. Right? This was the scenario of India, and this only was just the tip of the iceberg. How many crores and crores people are struggling all over India even today without food? We have all seen the drop in GDP. We have all seen where the Indian economy has been headed since Mr. Modi became the Prime Minister of India. I'm not saying there is no fault of Manmohan Singh. Yes, we were already in a giant bubble before when Modi took over. But we have constantly, with all these cheers to tears decisions, we have continued to go from bad to worse in terms of the economy. So I hope that hereafter at least, folks have woken up. Not only the folks, but even Mr. Modi and his cabinet and all the people in his party have woken up that we are to stop this cheers to tear decision, which are taken in a haste with probably not enough thinking and analysis. It doesn't matter even if the lockdown decision was a few days later. I don't think anything would have changed. Today we are still heading to be the number one corona country in the world, and by far probably not just beat the US, but eventually in a few months be 3 times or 4 times the number of cases in the United States. Just like couple of months ago we were nowhere close to Russia. Today if you compare India and Russia, India is like 4 or 5 times the number of cases in Russia, right? But if you had looked at it 3-4 months ago, India didn't even have half the case of Russia. Same is the case with the United States, India, US right now. Today if you look, today is September 13th. You look at the graph, India is probably about only half of the cases of US. But give it a couple of months, 3 months, maybe by the end of this year, India is likely to have 2 times the number of cases in US. Probably eventually even 3 times or more. Right? And of course, that is again assuming just looking at the government numbers. Whereas the real numbers, which the government is not able to capture, probably is 2 times, 3 times more of the official numbers. So we won't even discuss what that number is going to be. I'm just talking about the official numbers. So I hope that at least going forward, such decisions can be avoided. And what is next? So we have already, Modi has locked down your money. He has stopped your money one day. He has stopped your movement already. What is next? Is he going to stop you from eating food? And then after that, is he going to stop you from breathing? Is that the next thing's coming? So I just don't understand the kind of ridiculousness these decisions are, and how these go the media and all the bucks come online and they start cheering this like this is some great thing happened on earth, and later on all of us are only crying from it. Right? So I hope everybody wakes up and we change course here. Otherwise we are heading into major disaster if we continue on this path of such craziness and hasty decisions. Thank you. Please, if you like the content that I provide, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, and share my videos with all of your friends. Thank you. Until next time. Bye now.